Once upon a time in a small village, there lived an old cobbler named Martin. He was a simple man who spent his days repairing shoes. Despite his hard work, Martin often felt lonely and hopeless. He had lost his wife and son years ago, and their absence left a deep void in his heart. Every night, Martin would sit by the dim light of a lamp and read the Bible. But lately, he found it hard to believe in God's goodness. Why has God given me so much pain? He wondered. One evening, as Martin read the scriptures, a verse caught his attention. Whatever you do for the least of these, you do for me. The words struck a chord in his heart. With tears in his eyes, he prayed, God, if you are truly there, show yourself to me. Help me understand your plan for my life. That night, Martin had an unusual dream. He heard a voice calling his name. Martin, tomorrow I will visit you. Be ready. Startled, he woke up. At first, he thought it was just his imagination, but the dream felt so real that he decided to take it seriously. The next morning, Martin woke up earlier than usual. He cleaned his shop, polished the windows, and prepared some tea. As he waited eagerly, he kept looking out of the window, hoping to catch a glimpse of God. As the day began, Martin noticed an old man shivering outside in the cold. He wore tattered clothes and looked frail. Martin hesitated for a moment, then called the man inside. Come in and warm yourself, Martin said kindly. He offered him a warm coat and a cup of hot tea. The old man thanked him and left with a smile. After the old man left, Martin thought to himself, that was a kind deed, but where is God? I'm sure he will come later. He continued waiting. The young mother and her baby. Around midday, Martin saw a young mother struggling to walk through the snow. She carried a small baby, wrapped in thin clothes, and looked exhausted. Martin couldn't ignore her plight. He stepped outside and invited her in. Come, rest for a while. You and your child need warmth. Martin gave her some food and even found a blanket to wrap the baby. The mother, overwhelmed with gratitude, said, God bless you, and left. Martin felt good about helping the mother, but a part of him still felt empty. I've done good deeds today, but I am waiting for God. Why hasn't he come yet? Later in the afternoon, Martin noticed a commotion outside his shop. A young boy had tried to steal an apple from a vendor. The angry vendor grabbed the boy by his collar and began shouting. Martin rushed out and intervened. Please don't be harsh, he said, offering to pay for the apple. He handed the apple to the boy, who smiled and ran off. As the sun began to set, Martin returned to his seat. The day was ending, but God had not visited him. Disappointed, he whispered, was my dream just an illusion? Suddenly, Martin heard a soft voice. It was gentle but clear. Martin, did you not see me today? Startled, Martin looked around. Who was speaking? He asked. The voice replied, I was the old man you helped, the mother you fed, and the boy you saved. Whatever you did for them, you did for me. Tears streamed down Martin's face as he realized the truth. God had been with him all day, not in the form he expected but through the people who needed his help. From that moment, Martin understood the deeper meaning of his life. God's plan wasn't about grand miracles or visions but about small acts of love and kindness. Martin's faith grew stronger. He no longer felt lonely because he knew God was always present in the people around him and in the acts of compassion he offered. Martin continued his life as a cobbler, but now with a new sense of purpose. He greeted everyone with warmth and looked for ways to help those in need, knowing that in serving them, he was serving God. Sometimes, we search for God in extraordinary events, but he reveals himself in the simplest ways, through kindness, love, and the people around us. Trust in his plan, and remember, every act of compassion brings you closer to him. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs hope. And always remember, God's plan is at work in your life, even when you don't see it.